Welcome to this edition of the Highlight Zone. I'm Dan Vasko alongside Owen, Stiffler, and London Conley. A lot of NFL action going on today with the noon games already being decided. So let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights from those games. First game of the day, we're going to go to the Cowboys taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Cowboys pretty much out of a playoff race here. But Andrew Hawkins going to take the end around for the Bengals and gets for the go-ahead score 7-3. Later, Tony Romo is going to find Des Bryant over the middle for a 27-yard touchdown on the crossing route. And later, Dan Bailey gets a chance to win the game with a 40-yard field goal. He nails it. 2019, Dallas wins. Now heading to Cleveland where the Browns took on the Kansas City Chiefs. The first play from scrimmage, Jamal Charles breaks a couple tackles and runs 80 yards for the touchdown run. However, that would be Kansas City's only score of the day. Later on in the fourth quarter, Trent Richardson fights for the 1-yard touchdown. This is going to be his second of the game. Cleveland wins by a landslide, 30-7.
And let's travel to Indianapolis. This is Jake Locker finding Jared Cook for the TD strike. That puts up Tennessee 7-0 in the first. We'll go to the second quarter now, and Andrew Luck, he'll scramble around a bit, and he'll dump the ball right into Will Witherspoon's hands. Tennessee would go up 17-7 here, but Luck would bring the Colts back and get them the lead into the fourth quarter. And Jake Locker here trying to keep Tennessee in the game, but he'll throw the interception. It's picked off. Indy wins 23-27 to go to 9-4 on the season. Now it's Baltimore and Washington. RG3 scrambling here. He gets a nice gain, but he'd be hurt on the play. Backup quarterback Kirk Cousins would have to enter the game right after this. It was a sprained knee for RG3. Kirk Cousins, though, with the clock winding down, finds Pierre Garçon for the touchdown, brings them within 2. They'd have to go for the 2-point conversion. Kirk Cousins will call his own number here. He gets into the end zone. That's the 2-point conversion that tie it up, bring it to overtime. And in overtime, they nail the field goal, and Washington's playoff hopes still alive. They win 28-31.
Let's take a look at the Panthers versus the Falcons. We see here Cam Newton goes for 72 yards for the distance, gets blocked by Steve Smith here, goes all the way. Can he go? Yes, he does. Goes front flip into the end zone. Panthers lead 16-0. Moving along into the fourth, as you can see, we have here D'Angelo Williams goes. He gets a block. He takes off for 53 yards. He can go all the way. He does. Goes all the distance for a 53-yard touchdown. Carolina wins 30-20. Moving along here to Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Jay Cutler goes deep into wide receiver Alshon Jeffrey for a 23-yard touchdown. The Bears still trail 14-7 though. Jake Cutler drops back, throws a pick to Harrison Smith. Smith goes the distance with a 56-yard return for a touchdown. Unfortunately, the Bears lose this one 21-14, dropping in second straight.
It's a rough day for Chicago fans all around. Guys, what went wrong in this game to just have Chicago break down like that?
Well, first of all, the Minnesota Vikings are a one-dimensional offense. They just have a running game. Christian Ponder has kind of struggled down the stretch. I think going into the game, the Bears knew they needed to hold Adrian Peterson in check, and if they did that, they'd win the game. They absolutely didn't do that. He had close to 100 yards and 2 touchdowns just in the first quarter. So when you're allowing that much yardage on the ground, you're not going to get the win.
I would say Jay Cutler with 2 interceptions played a big part in this. The offense, they need to step up with Brian Urlacher out for this game. The offense needs to really carry over that momentum that usually the defense does. With that, 2 interceptions was unacceptable. Forte managed to get 85 yards in, but unfortunately that wasn't enough. You know, the offense was really dry, especially in the second half, and Cuffler suffered a neck injury, so you know that's not good news, unfortunately. Yeah.
It was interesting to see, especially because they decided to go basically abandon the run game once they were heading into the fourth quarter, and you know, maybe that really could have helped them out a lot if they were able to have that balance, because then they just became too predictable.
Definitely.
And Minnesota was all over them, and like you saw, Jay Cutler's trying to kind of force some of those passes over the middle to Colin Davis, and it just wasn't working out.
Caused some interceptions.
Absolutely. Now they take on the 8-4 Green Bay Packers next week, who happen to play Detroit tonight, and that's going to be a big game. What are the Bears going to need to do to pull out a much-needed victory against the Pack?
Well, like you said, there's big implications for tonight's game just within the division. If the Packers get the win, then they're going to be in sole possession of first place in the division, which will put a lot of pressure on the Bears as far as winning the NFC North goes. The Green Bay always plays the Bears so well, it's going to be difficult, I think. They need to, like you said, they need to have a balanced offense, run and pass, because when Cutler passes too much, that's when he starts throwing picks. And when he throws picks, he gets frustrated, and that's when they lose games. That's kind of what happened in the first time they met earlier in the season. So I think they need to have a good balance of run and pass. If they can do that, they have a chance to beat the Packers, who are pretty hot right now. But, you know, any given Sunday.
Anything can happen.
Right,
London, what are your thoughts on the game next week?
First off, we need Cutler. Let's hope he's available for next week because he's the MVP of this team. We need him to come out. We don't know if Campbell can really carry on a Green Bay defensive team like Cutler have shown in the past. But we also need the tight ends to come up and step up. Brandon Marshall's been doing this thing for the last couple of weeks, but we need others to step up. We have
Kellen Davis.
Yeah, we have Kellen Davis. Yeah, so we have him coming in starting, but we need the tight end to step up. Davis is kind of a big part, and also Forte needs to continue to hit the hole hard and get a 100-yard game because we're gonna need the offense to step up. It's all on their shoulders from now on.
Absolutely, I think the O-line is going to be a big part of this game as well because Green Bay, as we know, their defense really has been struggling so far this season, but they do get after the quarterback. That is their main goal. Jay Cutler, they're going to have to drop some draw plays and some quick slants and things like that for him to keep the defense honest in this game. And yeah, next week's going to be a huge game, pretty much a must-win for the Bears. And so going into that, they take on two division rivals in the final 3 weeks of the season. Green Bay, as we just talked about, being next week, and then week 17 they go and take on the Detroit Lions, who are having a surprisingly pretty decent season, given injuries and whatnot. What do you guys think the Bears' playoff chances are going to be going into these next 3 games, and how many games do you think they're going to need to win to secure a spot?
Well, first of all, I think if they can get one of these 2 games, they'll probably slip in as the wild card. But it's, like you said, divisional games, those are the toughest. They know us. I mean, they know the Bears. They've played twice a year, so those are always the toughest games. I think that they can get one game. I think it'll be difficult for them to beat the Packers next week, but I do think they can beat Detroit in 2 weeks. And if they do that, I think they can slip in as a wild card. But it's not going to be easy. Like I said, divisional games are always difficult.
Absolutely, they always have an added pressure on the team and whatnot. London, how do you think they're going to fare for the rest of the season?
I'm gonna go against Owen on this one. I think the Bears have no shot. Their momentum is off. They lost 2 straight, and before that, they lost another 2 straight. I think they don't really have the drive. They didn't play with the energy coming out against a team against the Vikings that they beat before. They didn't come out and they didn't match their energy in their game, and that was important for this game. And I really doubt that they can do that within the next 3 games. They might get one, but it's going to be hard for them. So I don't really think they have a good shot in losing this playoff. So Lovie Smith, he needs to be worried about his coaching position also.
He's definitely on the hot seat. I think that it could really go either way, but for now, I think today was kind of a fluke defensively for the Bears. They've been just nothing short of dominant all season long. I think they're going to carry that into the next 3 games of the season. They're going to go back, reevaluate this game, especially kind of a wake-up call for them. If they're able to get Jay Cutler back next week, I think they definitely will at least secure a wild card spot. Although you got to stay aggressive and try and fight for that division. Green Bay is going to be a tough game, especially because it is in Green Bay. But I do think they can pull off a victory against Detroit. So it'll be interesting to see going on into the last 3 weeks of the season. It's going to be a tight race for most divisions.
We'll see.
It's going to be exciting.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here at the Highlight Zone. Tune in next week. Have a good night.